Welcome to this episode of Wanderlust Solo Women Travel Unscripted. Real women, real stories, real journeys, and no filter. Join Gina, your host, to share the experiences and stories of solo female travelers and advocates from all over the world, with a mission to empower women of all ages, backgrounds, and life stages to embrace solo female travel with confidence and enthusiasm, while being authentic and real, unscripted. Confronting the challenges and apprehensions many women face when considering solo adventures, providing inspiration to break through those barriers. Sharing how life transitions, loss, and trauma can lead to amazing experiences, rediscovery, and life journeys. The good, the bad, and the ugly of authentic and honest travel. So let's throw out the script, get comfy, and jump right into this episode.
Joining me is Ciska DeJong. She is a proud New Zealand-born and raised adventurer. She is passionate about everything travel, outdoors, and adventure. She has ticked off exploring over 20 countries solo, as well as her home country New Zealand thoroughly. When Ciska was reaching her 30s, she realised that life had so quickly passed by, especially after 4 years of uni and running a business for 7 years. She swiftly put the business on the market, sold up, and travelled solo for a year and a half all over the world. This adventure was part of her life story, and she set off to conquer the world. Upon returning home, she and her now partner continued to travel throughout New Zealand, making fun videos of themselves and friends on road trips, which soon grew into New Zealand Adventures, with an over 150,000k following, where they get to travel all through New Zealand making epic content with the goal to inspire people to explore our beautiful country. This also extended into Cook Island Adventures when Rarotonga became like a second home. With a few more international solo and group trips under Ciska's belt, she is a true traveller and adventurer with some epic crazy stories to tell. Her energy and humble nature is contagious. In my chat with Ciska, we will cover everything from how solo travelling gave her confidence to wild adventures and how the way we travel can change as we get older. So buckle up, let's go. Hi and welcome to Wanderlust Solo Women Travel Unscripted, and thanks for being on the show. And I'm so excited to have my long lost friend here, Ciska, who's joining us from Tauranga, New Zealand. It's so good to have you here.
It's so exciting. Just to chat to you in general is cool.
Yeah.
But go back and reminisce on some blooming good memories, some good life memories. It's going to be good fun.
So me and Ciska met actually sort of online through some women travel
Dating
groups. And yeah, I swipe left and you swipe. Yeah. So, you know, not to me either.
Yeah, well, maybe in another life.
So we're going to touch on the importance of online communities and the great connections that actually makes. So firstly, we always start the show with our Pass the Parcel question. So our question from our previous guest, which was Grenier, she asked, from your travels and learning that you had confidence to travel on your own, what changes have you made within your own life at home now because of this? Has travel given you confidence in your day-to-day life?
Definitely. Yeah. There's so many facets of traveling on your own that come into your daily life afterwards. Some examples would be socially. So I was quite shy growing up, and with friends that I had good connections with, I could absolutely be myself, but I was always quite shy. And when you travel on your own, you're very much forced to not only, I guess, make connections and friends with people that you feel a connection with, but if you're ballsy enough, after a while, I guess you've got to build up confidence to go and talk to people and initiate friendships and invite yourself out with people or just say yes to things. So for me personally, I mean, some other people are just naturally good at making friends wherever they go, but I would say that's definitely been a big thing. And it kind of just, it's not something you realize overnight, but as situations happen in life, you go, oh man, just the confidence in having to do that repetitively to enjoy yourself while you're solo traveling. I would say that's definitely something that's carried on in life. So the confidence to talk to strangers and to say yes, I guess, to things you'd normally be a bit shy of. So
Yeah,
that's
I
definitely
totally
one
can
thing.
relate. Yeah, totally relate because I was exactly the same. I hated talking to strangers. It absolutely terrified me. But yeah,
Yeah,
traveling definitely, I think, has changed the fact that I can walk up to a stranger now and pretty much strike up a conversation, and it doesn't freak me out as much as what it used to.
yep,
And I think
yep.
I really love the fact that you say, about saying yes to things because, in your bio, you're the creator of New Zealand Adventures. All the links for Ciska's social media will be down below in the comments. But, like you've said yes to many adventures through your social media platforms, but just your adventures genuinely in life. And you've told me some really cool stories, and I think we're going to touch on one, but the one that really sticks in my mind is the getting arrested in Greece. Can you
Yeah,
share that?
yes, definitely. So, yeah, it was actually Turkey, which I think is
Oh, Turkey. Yeah, well,
even more
next door, sort
scary.
of.
So a bit of a backstory. So I was in Greece. So I was away. I did a big trip for 1.5 years on my own, and it was just an open-ended one-way ticket to Vietnam, and then just go with the flow. And about it would have been maybe a year into it. My dad was in Greece. He had a boat there, and I spent 6 weeks sailing from one side of Greece, close to Athens, all the way over to Turkey. And
Wow.
um, towards the end, I had a scooter and I was out getting some sunset shots, and a van drove like this tiny little. Oh, this is a whole other story, but it kind of leads into it served me quite well because the police officer felt sorry for me, and anyhow, so long story short, had a scooter accident, and I was I could hardly walk, like I was grazed from face to feet. It involved two massive Greek men in white overalls covered in blood, and the van was like shaking. Like I came to from having fallen off my scooter. A dog was chasing this van, and then at the last second turned for me, fell off. I wake up and this dog's like staring at me, growling. These two men come out with blood all over their overalls, and their van's shaking. Turns out there was a sheep in the van. That's why the dog couldn't be in there and was chasing after the van because that was its owners. So, anyways, got back to the boat, could hardly walk. We eventually sailed to Turkey, and I'm pretty blasé with things. Sometimes not so much now that I'm a bit older. I plan a lot more. Like I actually arrived to the airport so early because my style was turning up like right on the dot, and just the amount of flights I should have missed. Um, so pretty blasé back then. We sailed in and stayed in this little bay called, I think it was Boardroom, it was called. And I was like, oh, I'll sort my passport thing out at the airport. So I had an internal flight from this little city to Istanbul, had a whole day in Istanbul, and then flew out to Egypt after that. Oh, so this was actually at the end of my trip. So I'd been traveling for a year and a half already. You'd think I would have got a bit smarter by then, but yeah, so got onto the internal flight, no problem. I thought, oh yeah, it must be then not to have got my passport stamped. I've been traveling through the EU where it's different countries, but it's all the
Yeah.
same. And with a Dutch passport as well, didn't need to get things stamped. And so I was like, oh yeah, just sorted out at the airport. Went to leave Istanbul, so I flew into Istanbul, had the day out, it was awesome. Went back to the airport to get my international flight, and he opens up my passport, and he's like going through all the
Where's the
pages,
stamp?
and he says, "Oh, do you have another passport?" And anyways, I hadn't got stamped into the country, and straight away, I said, "Look, my dad just dropped me off this morning in the boat, and passport control was closed." And he says, "You're lying because they're actually open 24/7." And I was lying because we'd been there for like a week and a half already, just hanging out in the bay. I didn't think I'd get in much trouble, but I got under. They took my passport. My bag was already loaded onto the plane, so they took my bag. The story can get longer and longer, as much detail as you want. But so they took my bags off the plane. I had to be escorted everywhere by police. They drove me down to the local cop shop with sirens on. Uh, and I had to get all my fingerprints done, show and photograph all my tattoos, and like the full on where you're You've got a signboard with your name like you see in the movies, and you have to face forward.
Fun.
Yep. And then it's to face left and right. And by this stage, like, I was pretty scared because I don't know what was happening. Got back to the airport, escorted everywhere, had to wait in front of airport security, still had my passport, and I had to either pay a big fine or I had to sign a document not in English at all, in full Turkish, that I wouldn't come back to Turkey for, I
Wow.
can't remember, it was like 3 or 5 years. I was like, yeah, I'm not coming back. This was far too freaky. So they got my bag off the plane, and I remembered that I had a Ziploc bag of white powder, which was like a Dettol powder for my scars, because having had that scooter accident, I had a lot of open wounds that would stick to your clothing and stuff. And my dad
Oh
was
my God.
cheap Dutchy. He wouldn't let me have the bottle, so he put it in a Ziploc bag for me. I took a photo of it just in case because it looked a bit suspicious. So I was like, shoot, I need to get rid of that because I'm on my own in a foreign country.
The
And you
bag
never
of
know
white
what's gonna.
powder.
Yep. So I said to the police officer, I need to take my bag into the toilets, lady stuff. Luckily, he let me. So I went into the toilet, got this bag out, it ripped, and I got white powder all over my pants, all over my bag. So I'm at the sink, like, trying to get this white powder.
It sounds even more dodgy. Can I go to the bathroom to dispose of a bag of white powder? It's
Well,
like, mate, like put a sign on top of your head.
Well, no, I said it was lady stuff, so I need to take my bag into the. I didn't mention this bag of white powder, but this police officer felt sorry for me because I could hardly walk. I couldn't carry my backpack because of my shoulders, so I had got this little nano trolley that my backpack sat on, so I could wheel it everywhere. And this guy genuinely felt sorry for me. He said, "Look, your flight's cancelled, but book one in like 8 hours' time, and we should have everything processed by then, and you'll be fine." But right up until the last minute, like I wasn't allowed to leave. I was basically under airport arrest. They walked me literally to the plane door and then handed my passport back. And then I got on the plane and went to my last destination, which was
You must
Egypt.
have been terrified, or were you too much in the moment? Like
I
you just
was,
were
yeah.
dealing with it.
At the start, I was terrified because Turkey, I don't know how to describe it. It's not like Australia or things where I'm assuming rules are rules. I felt very much like I'm on my own as a female that really maybe mislead information, like white powder, pack of white powder. Yeah, so it was really scary. But once this police officer took a bit of, I don't want to say pity, but
empathy for you.
Empathy, that's the perfect word. Yeah, then it was like, okay, no, I've just got to sign this document, which I have no idea what it says, and be on my way. Got a nice.
And this is before we had like Google Translate and that, around it. You could have just scanned it. Wasn't a case of that.
Yeah, so this was probably 11 years ago.
Yeah.
Yep. I probably didn't even
And how
have
much
internet
has
on my
changed?
phone.
Yeah, now.
Yeah, well, they've even got, I just saw the new iPods can do live translating. So you can be having conversations with someone in a different language. It's just unreal.
It's crazy, yeah. Like I use Google Translate and even Google Translate offline if you download the language quite a bit now. It's great for reading documents or menus because you literally just hold your camera over it and it brings it up in English. So it is such a good travel tool. But yeah, not helpful back then in your situation.
Yeah. End of last year, I did Greece on my own. I was in Athens and I had to do lots of travel by bus, train, and everything was in English, and without Google Translate, of course, it would be pretty tough. Yeah.
Especially in countries like Greece and where Spain and Italy, you can sort of understand the words when they're written a little bit. When you start to go in those countries and all the letters are higgledy-piggledy and got squiggles and shite all over them, you can't understand it. So, yeah, it's definitely a great tool to have. And like from that, you've had lots of adventures, you've done lots of things, and we met because we both love travel. And Siska actually came with me on my very, very first retreat I hosted. That was
Like,
no,
oh, we've done two.
you
We've
went
done
and did
three
two with
together.
me. Yeah, no. So
Joint, that's right.
Rarotonga and the Cook Islands was the first place that I did a retreat, and Siska came along. That actually opened a lot of doors for you, that trip, didn't it? And
It
it's
really did.
Rarotonga's not sort of become your second home, but you've spent a lot of time there since. Do you want to like share, how, saying we were talking about saying yes to things, saying yes to coming along on my trip, translated into something that's carried on and been a real positive experience for you?
Definitely, definitely. So yeah, you'd done a retreat in Rarotonga and I came along and did some videoing for you. And we bunked up in the same glamping tent. We were bed buddies. Hey,
Without the ring, yeah.
yeah, so I helped you to make some sort of promotional material, I guess, that you could use to promote your Rara retreat in future. And we stayed at a wonderful
Mhm.
glamping site. And I used that footage later on in a video that I'd made about, what was it? I think it was 20 things to do in Rarotonga. And in
Yes,
exchange,
yeah.
they would gift us a couple of nights free accommodation for the next time we came back. So by this stage, am I married? So while I did my solo trip, I'm with my now husband. So we've been together 15 years. So while I was traveling, we were together and he joined me for a little bit um, of that. So by this stage, um, we'd done a Raro treat. I think Lance, my husband, came over after and we stayed in Raro, done
Yes, he
two.
did. Yep.
Yeah. And then time came to go back to Raro. That's right. I was just trying to remember it all. And I got in touch with this camping place that we stayed in. New owners had taken over, but they honoured the free accommodation. I did some more promo with them. So we stayed there towards the end of our trip and got to know the new owners really well, lovely people. And when we got home, within a few hours of being home, they said, "Hey, our workers just resigned to go to New Zealand. How would you two feel about coming in over for a few months and taking their place and just helping out? And you can stay with us for free and in exchange do some work." And literally we were like, yep,
Yes.
absolutely, but give us a day to think about it, because of course we're going to say yes, but need to actually be realistic about it. So in the end, we went pretty soon after, once we got all of our affairs and sorted, and stayed for 5 months, five
Yeah.
magical months. So we can kind of claim that we lived in Raro, and we go back every year. We go and help in house sit these same people, so we get to stay at that same accommodation again. But yeah, 5 magical months. We'd do a bit of work in the morning, kind of like woofing, like what you used to do.
Yeah.
Do a bit of work, do housekeeping, would do gardening, would do water blasting, bit of building, just whatever needed to be done. And then for the rest of the time would be out free diving or hiking or eyes on
Adventuring.
the beach, eating, lots of, yeah. So 5 months, and we talk about that trip all the time, all the time.
Yeah.
And we brought my stepson over, so he would have been 18 or 19. So we brought him over for Christmas. It was his first proper kind of solo international trip. He flew over on his own and flew back on his own, and that opened up um, his eyes, I guess, to what it's like to be overseas. So that's such a significant part of our life. Even wearing my Cook Islands hoodie.
And in saying that, Siska's got another, it's Cook Island Adventures, so it's got some
Yeah.
amazing footage, what Siska's been talking about as well on that channel.
It's a beautiful, beautiful place. If you haven't been, highly recommend going to the Cook Islands, Rarotonga.
But that sort of leads, what you were saying right at the beginning about saying yes to opportunities when they arise. And sometimes they don't come in ways we expect them to.
Yeah. Yet the most simple conversation, a person you could meet in passing, you and I talking
Yep.
online, and what that can lead to in the future it's pretty cool. It's pretty,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's being open to that. And, I know we've got to be careful these days because there are so many dodgy people out there, especially online. But I think as long as, you use your due diligence and,
Mm.
your common sense, you do find there are really awesome people like you and like me out there, and it does open amazing doors. And if you are able, like you and Lance were, to go and accept an opportunity, I know I was given one. I ended up saying I had to say no to it. Sadly, I was my day job at the time. We'd done some farm work for this couple. They spend 6 months of the year in New Zealand and 6 months in Wales, and they actually
Wow.
own a campsite in Snowdonia. And I got talking to them, and I'd already, spent time in Wales. I'd done, like you mentioned, woofing there. And so we got talking, and they said, well, actually, over the summer, we get really busy. We're looking for someone so you'd get free accommodation and a car and a wage
Wow.
for but we need you
Wow.
for 3 months. So I had a meeting with them and everything, and it was an amazing opportunity and an incredible part of Wales, but I just couldn't at the time, just responsibilities at
Mm.
home. I
Yeah.
couldn't do it,
Yeah.
but it was from that simple conversation. I could have had that opportunity. It would have been
Yeah.
incredible.
And that could have led into being offered an amazing job over there. And
Yeah.
um, yeah, who knows what that could lead into. Yeah, very cool how something so simple can lead into something massive, life changing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But like I said, I couldn't go because of, I had
Mm.
responsibilities. And we had
Yeah.
a little talk earlier about, you were saying, your travel styles probably changed from when you were younger and nearly missing planes.
Yeah. Oh,
We
totally.
evolve. We do
Yeah.
evolve
We
as we get
mature.
older. But we
Something like
also
that.
have different responsibilities.
Yeah.
I love the term you told me. You got told that there's the part of of people's lives called the squeeze. Do you want to
Mm.
explain that term? How you got explained it?
Yeah. So we'd never heard of it. We'd never experienced it. And someone we knew was talking about being in the squeeze. And we were like, what do you mean? And they said, it's where you've got younger people, so your kids generally, who depend on you, and then your parents or your people older than you that depend on you. And you're sort of in the middle, um, where both ends of the scale, there's a part of your life, a big part of your life where your time and energy is put in between, the squeeze of
Yeah.
the older and the younger, and that's definitely our life at the moment.
There's there's small windows because I know, like, people go, well, when my kids get older, when they turn 18, I'll go and do this and that. But quite often when that period comes is when our parents are getting older. And you've just been going through this yourself.
Mm.
You've had one of your parents has been going through this. So that's changed your way of traveling and doing things for this period of time also, hasn't it?
Very, very, very much. Yeah, one of my parents had an accident, and it's left them needing full time care. And part of, I guess, being a daughter and loving my parents is, being a big part of their life and their journey, recovery journey, and their journey ahead. So that's a lot of my time is spent with them, and also my stepson. So he came to live with us full time recently. So that's another equation of how our life is changed a little bit. What was really cool is bringing him along in our trips. So we recently, just on the weekend, did a 3-day trip to Taranaki with a local, and he took us through all this backcountry to waterfalls that are on farmers' land, and uh, that was really cool to do that as a family. So it's
Yeah.
a new avenue, but it's also
Yeah.
changed our travel style, because when you're traveling as a couple or as solo, your decision making is different. So now we've actually got to be a bit more responsible because we're so it.
But in saying that, something you said you did on that trip didn't sound very responsible. But yeah, we'll go into that in a minute. But you're exactly right. We're not static as
Mm,
travelers.
yeah.
Our the way we travel, how we view travel, our priorities all change as our life goes. You can't, I even I have evolved as a traveler, I think, and sometimes life, I don't want to, it's not get in the way, but life does take over and you have to put some things aside sometimes, and then you can take it up other times. Or like you said, it evolves in a different way where you take your stepson along and you do things differently. It doesn't
Yeah,
mean, it's just a different way of doing it. And
that's right.
it's so cool that you're still sharing that and you're instilling that now into someone
Mm,
else.
yeah, that's really exciting. It is.
And touching on that, because what you were telling me as you you went, like you said, you went out and explored a beautiful part of New Zealand as one of your adventures, and I'm sure you've got some videos coming soon of that.
mm, yeah,
But you've had some pretty cool stuff you've done with New Zealand adventures, and I know one of the things you do is you chase waterfalls a lot.
mm. Love waterfalls. Yeah, I can't explain why, but they're beautiful. Yeah. And the same waterfall can look so different in a different season, but a lot of it is also the trip to get to the waterfall, especially if it's one that's you found on Google Maps. You know, you zoom in and you're like, that looks like a waterfall, and you've got to find your way there, or you've seen a photo of it and you've got to do lots of research to try and find where it is, or just one that's on a map and is really well known. It's just beautiful. And if you can have a swim underneath the waterfall, it's lovely. The bushwalk to get out there, the company you have is really cool. One thing you were talking about just earlier about how your travel style evolves. One thing that came up really predominantly for me compared to when I did my solo trip. So my now husband, who was my partner at the time, he flew over for 3 or 4 months and traveled with me. And again, we still talk about those memories all the time from that trip. And one significant thing of how my travel styles changed, even though I absolutely love traveling on my own, is having someone to share those memories with.
Yeah.
Um, to be able to talk about them later in life and reminisce. Whereas when you solo travel, you definitely meet some of the most incredible people and the most long-term friendships you ever will have. It's really nice to share memories together. So that's definitely something that's evolved in my travel journey is enjoying traveling with others, but very much appreciating being on my own as well. Don't know how I got onto that from waterfalls, but
I really
it
love that.
stuck in
I
my
think
mind when we were talking about it before.
I think it's a really, really good message that, it is nice, to be able to share those memories with someone, because I know, I do worry sometimes, when I go on solo travels and I get excited about the stories, but some people must think I bang on about it and then just not, not interested, oh God, there she goes again. But because they don't, it can be something so simple. It doesn't even have to be anything spectacular. It could be a simple moment and you find so much joy in it and you're trying to explain that to someone else and it's just goes over the top of their head. So yeah, I totally get that. And I think that's a really beautiful message actually to round out this episode. I think that's really, really cool. And thank you for sharing that. To end the show, I always do a quick fire round. I haven't got any questions ready. So I'm just going to make them up as I go. So I'm only going to do a few for you. What is the most memorable food you have eaten while traveling?
I'm going to give two because they're extremely different, and one is probably going to make people switch off and not follow me. But first one, the first one is my favorite food, which I discovered in Vietnam, which you've got to eat when you go there. It's called bún chả, and everyone that knows me knows that this is my favorite dish in the whole world. And uh, yeah, when you try it in Vietnam, you'll thank
I'm going
me,
to
but
make a
it's
note of that.
delicious. So that's my most memorable food in terms of deliciousness. And the other most memorable food, I don't know if I should share this one.
Do I need a drum roll?
Is in Vietnam. So when I did my big trip, for some
I have a
reason,
funny feeling I might know what it is. Keep going.
I would try and eat the weirdest food I could find, which now I'm like, oh, I just couldn't do that now. Um, and met some random people at a backpackers. They said, we're going to a snake farm to eat snake. Awesome, cool, let's go. And traveled over to the snake farm and, you get a menu. You order your dishes that you want. So we just got a whole heap to share. And then they said, do you want the heart? And I was like, oh, not really. Like, I'm not really into liver and heart and stuff. But I thought, shoot, you
Hey,
never
you'll
know.
eat a snake.
Yeah, it's weird. So I thought, well, if it gets cooked and prepped, it won't. I don't know. Maybe they cut it up and put it in some salad or something. I don't know. I was like, yeah, sure, okay.
Smear it in tomato sauce. Everything's fine.
Yeah, she'll be right. Next minute, they bring out bags, like sacks of snakes that are alive, and these guys couldn't speak English, so they start signaling someone over from our group, and it's so graphic, but
You're too far in now. You have to keep going.
So they pull a snake out, and there's two people. One holds the tail, one holds the head, and I'm really sorry, people listening to this.
Disclaimer, yeah, if you are got a squeamish or don't like animal cruelty, maybe turn away now.
Yeah, because I'd said no.
But this is the reality, unfortunately, of how some cultures live. Yeah.
Yeah. So they get a knife. They had this little tray and a knife, and they cut down the snake and they pull the heart out, still attached, still beating, and the guy's signaling to the person,
oh my God,
do that. And I was like, what the hell? I didn't sign up for this. No flipping way. Like, that is rough. And everyone in the group ended up doing it, and it was me left, and I was like, nah, I just can't do that.
Couldn't.
It's so inhumane. I don't know what the and then I thought, you know what, this is what traveling is all about, and I've been eating like scorpions and crazy stuff, say yes. And so I did it, and then they, more squeamish, they drain the blood, and that's what you got to use.
I feel like dry reaching.
And then you sit around a table, and that's when they bring all the cooked
stuff,
parts of the snake out. And it's meant to be good for men and releasing, I don't know, is it aphrodisiac? It's called?
Yeah.
I don't know what it does for women, but that's definitely terrible. I got photos of it.
That's up there.
That's up there, right? Like, I tell the story now, I'm like, how could you do that, Ciska? That's so bad. But
it's an interesting, because I was in Morocco for Eid. So that's after Ramadan. That's when they slit the ram's throat, and they eat all the offal, the heart and liver and all that first, And I'm not a vegetarian. I like to think I'm an ethical-tarian. I like to animals are killed quickly and humanely and blah blah. But the fact is, they didn't waste one bit of that animal. Okay. That's where I see a difference, when there's the use of every single bit of that animal if it's got to sacrifice its life. And unfortunately, these are not all cultures are the same, and some of them it is confronting, especially if you are a vegetarian and stuff like that, and into animal welfare, which I am. So that's pretty out there, and I know a lot of Asian countries are pretty out there when it comes to food.
Yeah. So I do apologize.
That was a pretty heavy, quick fire question.
I know, right? I could not tell it. Definitely memorable, right? Yeah.
So I'll go. Do you have a road trip song?
Oh,
do you have a favourite one?
No, I guess it's kind of the flavour of the month is what's played on repeat, which at the moment is Fred Again, the DJ.
There you go.
Yeah. So at the moment, yes, that would be it.
Awesome. If you are a folder or a roller with your luggage, with your backpack or bag?
It used to be just chuck it in.
Do you know how many chuck it ins? I've got they either fold or roll to start, and then chuck it in coming home.
Yeah. And backpack, or my backpack back then, but now it would be fold and a bit of roll. I think
look at you, all grown up.
I know, going into my 40s, I'm starting to become a roller.
I love that. Oh, that's so funny. It's
me.
I'm a packing cube, and I'm a roller.
Yep, I've seen your
going and coming home.
Nice, organised. Yep.
So it's been so cool chatting, and I've loved hearing about all your adventures, and it's been so good connecting again with you.
It has.
So thank you.
Thank you for inviting me along to chat. been great fun. We could talk for hours more, I'm
I
sure.
know. I'm going to put all Ciska's links to connect with her on social media. She has got some amazing footage, so make sure you check all that out. But in the meantime, thank you everyone for tuning in. And remember, it's never too late to unleash your wanderlust.
Thanks for listening. Please share the love by liking, commenting, or subscribing, or join us in our Facebook community.